put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning.
Good morning, viewers, and welcome back to the Tobago Updates morning show, coming to you here live from the Port Mall in Scarborough, Tobago. We just had about 7:13 a.m. All right, at this point, viewers, we're heading on into our first interview this morning. No stranger, certainly in the Tobago space, and here with us on Tobago Updates, we have joining us Curtis Douglas, President of the All Tobago Fisherfolk Association. Good morning to you and welcome.
Good morning to you and good morning to Trinidad and Tobago and the wider Caribbean. And as I like always to say, share the life.
Yes, indeed. And as we get the conversation started this morning, we are diving straight on in. Just before we begin to speak to the challenges, I really want to begin by commending, the All Tobago Fisherfolk Association for what I saw as joining the cause, joining the fight, and utilizing whatever resources you may have in the circumstances as it relates to the oil spill. Tell us a little bit about that involvement.
Well, first to start, we would have gotten a call from TIMA stating the situation that was plaguing Tobago, which is the hydrocarbon that was flooding the waters of Tobago. And I would have attended a meeting along with TIMA, with the Chief Secretary and the Deputy Chief Secretary and other secretaries about that emergency meeting and what is our plan, our action plan to save the economy of Tobago. So then after that meeting, after 8 o'clock, after 8, we had was to immediately get into action. We didn't have no time to mobilize anything during the dark of the night. We had was to start to lay booms to stop the hydrocarbon from flooding the island of Tobago. And I just want to make something very clear. Without the help of the fisherfolk, Tobago economy would have shut down. The hydrocarbon was moving so fast with the current. At that time, on the 8th, the current was moving at least 8 knots across the harbor. The harbor means the port, the Scarborough port. That means the Cabo Star couldn't dock, the Tobago Reef couldn't dock, the cruise ship that came in couldn't dock without the swift action of TIMA and the THA. So I just want people to know, because, I'm hearing all kind of people saying all kind of things, about how they could have done better, and they're talking. One, you must have a plan of action. They did that. 2, we execute the plan that we came up with to ensure that the economy of Tobago would have kept rolling and rolling so that we could still get our groceries and our supermarket, or feed our kids and stuff like that. We had also move. I'm telling you, after 2 o'clock in the morning, we still organizing to ensure that the people of Tobago, could be able to be mobilized. Some form of normalcy would have been able to happen. So I must say, thanks to TIMA, thanks to Frontier Diving, thanks to the All Tobago Fisherfolk, we had moved swiftly to ensure that we do our part as Tobagonian. Because by the end of the day, Julian, make no mistake, I want to make it categorically clear. The fisherfolk would have been the most affected one by this. Short term, medium, and long term.
Certainly. And I want to take the opportunity to join you there, most definitely, for the immediate response we saw by a number of stakeholders, including yourself, TIMA, the divers, led by the Tobago House of Assembly, to really ensure that intervention. And then we saw the joining in at the national level a few days later, to really get into the mix, most certainly to ensure that we take care of what is ours right here in Tobago. But as you have mentioned, that's one of the areas we want to chat on a little bit this morning. One would only anticipate we have challenges here on land in relation to treating with the cleanup exercise and the efforts taking place. For some, the stench that comes depending on the area that you live in. You have been battling with that. Tell us a little bit about the fisherfolk themselves in terms of livelihood and so on, and what the extent of that impact has been since the circumstances that we are currently facing.
Julian, that is a welcome question, because I need people to understand the fisherfolk was gravely and deeply impacted by this. Julian, I have people with over 8 engines and more that is would have damaged by this hydrocarbon. Even the vessel that we were using to go through the hydrocarbon, some of the fisherfolk, right? Right now we have Tommy from Lambo, from Ramkisoon and there, that would have contributed. They would have suffered greatly. Not only that, even the fish stock. The fish stock. So that will be that what was damaged? We have fryers, we have sprats, we have baits, we have barracuda, we have grouper. We had snappers. Those was a ground that Tobago. I cannot say only Lambo. I have to say Tobago fishermen would have benefited. I'm talking a great deals of millions of dollars in terms of revenue that we would have lost. And I'm not even talking about, I'm not even the downstream with the vendors who need their living. The fishing industry will widely impacted by this, right? And this was not the responsibility of the fisherfolk. We are just the people who are suffering based on the reckless behavior of reckless people, right? Hence the reason why fishermen are so tense, right? Why fishermen are so tense? We are struggling, right? Although they will get fish for Easter, this hydrocarbon, right, would have give us a great setback to the fishing industry, right? You know, some people say, why we don't put a figure to it, right? I told them, man, the last figure I would have thought was huge. And each day, it would have been going up. Because each day I've been getting complaint that Mr. Douglas come and check me engine. I can't go to see I run through the night I run through. I took down an engine last week, right? From Mr. Duke, Elon, both name ask your mother. When Mr. Lawrence, the mechanic, asked, if you see him, how much hydrocarbon was coming from that foot, the engine of the foot and the head of the foot, that seizes up all the seals. So if you have an engine have a lifespan for 5 years, it boils down to 1.5, right? So these are the kind of continuous effect that the fishing industry or the fisherman that is plying his living, right? Now, I would have mentioned that the fisherfolk advise them not to catch any fish around those vicinity.
Yes.
And they would have complied. The fisherfolk have shown real unity and would have complied, right? So it's a lot that they are going through right now, because now they even have to go further, right? So when people think that is the fisherfolk in Lambo alone, it's not. It's not Lambo or Scarborough alone.
So tell us, have they been able to, I know it will take a little more effort, but have they been able to utilize or to make efforts in terms of fishing in other parts of Tobago this time around, while we're facing the challenges on this side of the island?
Yeah. Julien, I'm glad you asked that question as well. The fisherfolk is very innovative and very clever, and they would have been going out deeper to deeper waters. Now we have guys going 60, 35, depends on what location of Tobago you're going. So now they have gone further, but even in the shallows itself, the hydrocarbon been plaguing some of them in the oil spill in the shallows. But they are going deep. They are going close to even Trinidad Tobago now, right? So obviously, some of them who can go because the engine permits them to are going further to ensure that they're able to apply their trade to put meals on the tables for their families. And even the moving of the location of the vendors, because they play a very imperial role in assisting or contributing to the sales of fish on the island. They have to be removed to the Scarborough hub. So it's a whole circle of...
So just clarify for us, because again, I know it's common. Even when I have friends and family visiting, I'm going down Lambo to get my fish.
Yes.
Where have they relocated to?
Yeah. To the Scarborough hub. Right? You could get Alvin and...
So that's the food hub in Shaw Park.
The food hub in Shaw Park. You get Alvin, you could get... And if you want fresh fish, clean fish, safe fish, you could go down at the Scarborough Fruit Hub, opposite the gas station, opposite the complex, and you will be able to get your snappers, get your kingfish for Easter, and you could even probably get smoked fish as well. So they are there, and they are waiting because you know what happened.
Yes, definitely. And if I am to make the comparison to what takes place at the national level with farmers and so on, I'd have to ask the obvious question: are there talks happening as it relates to, even if not immediately, as it relates to treating with some levels of compensation for what, of course, is no fault of any specific one here in Tobago, at least I should say. I almost said it's no fault of ours, it's natural.
Yes.
But correction, no faults of the immediates here in Tobago who are affected, but definitely someone to be held responsible. But even in those circumstances, have there been any talks, or is there any level of anticipation with some kind of support coming through the Tobago House of Assembly or central government for our members of our fisherfolk that are directly affected?
Right. No, Julien, I cannot speak for the Chief Secretary. I cannot speak for the Prime Minister. But what I could tell you is that ATFA hasn't received any form of directive or communication from central government, right? In that sense, the only conversation we had is what was Mr. Fali Chavez Augustine had a meeting, or also Dr. Faith had a meeting with us in the terms of immediate what we could do now, right? So we have immediate, short-term, and long-term, right? So that meeting for long-term is still yet to be met, to discuss, right? One, how was the quantum of funding that we would have lost? And two, what are we going to do to treat with that? And from our perspective, I did not hear anything coming out of central government, because we would have known that there was no funding, right, for these type of events that happen with the hydrocarbon, right? So I am surprised that the Prime Minister or Minister of Energy, Stuart Young, instead of sitting and going to this conference in Guyana and discussing how good we are in terms of natural gas and stuff, but nothing was done or put in place for the fisherfolk, for a grant to assist us with our engine, two, to help the fisherfolk who would have lost gravely with the terms of incomes and revenue for this, and three, what are we going to put in place so that this shouldn't happen? And I was saying very quite clear, and I want to speak slowly so that the audience and the people of Tobago and Trinidad should understand. The all Tobago fisherfolk will be asking for not less than 2% out of any revenue, all revenue from any oil or gas company that operates in the space of Tobago and Trinidad, more so Tobago, that we have, that money should be paid into our green fund every year or every quarter, paying to our green fund, so that this type of reckless and rude behavior would not occur, and the people of Tobago and the fisherfolk would not sit in a maze and wonder where our help or assistance or preserving our natural resources would come from. It must come from here. It must start from within. And we're making it very clear that is our stance on things, and that is what we're going to fight to ensure that the lives of Tobagonians and also Trinidadians is being protected.
All right. Thank you very much. They are a very strong call, most definitely coming from the All Tobago Fisherfolk Association President Curtis Douglas. We want to thank you very much for joining us on set here this morning on Tobago Updates, the Tobago Updates morning show. Certainly, folks, giving us a sense of what's happening, the position of our fishermen. Again, that gentle reminder, they've been going out further in the circumstances to be able to still secure, for those of you that are accustomed going down to they are now temporarily located at the food hub there, right in Shore Park, so you can still get your opportunity to access your fresh fish right in Shore Park there at the food hub, as a gentle reminder. And we look forward to seeing what the developments will be, definitely in providing some level of support to the members of our fisherfolk and those who are certainly affected by the circumstances. We look forward to the continued working of the team, as we started off in this interview by saying, very good effort, commendable effort being coordinated there between the Tobago House of Assembly team and all stakeholders. And we look forward to the time where we will get to a point where this so-called mystery vessel And I have no other way to put it, folks. And those are not the views of Tobago Updates. Those are the views of Julien Skeete. This so-called mystery vessel will be identified, and we can advance that aspect of the matter a little further while treating with our safety and security. And I trust that, the relevant powers that be are taking all efforts possible and will continue to take all efforts possible to ensure that we secure all aspects of Trinidad and Tobago. Viewers, we want to thank you so much for the continued love and support and for choosing the Tobago Updates morning show. And at this point, I invite Curtis Douglas to join me as we head on out and remind you to take this opportunity to share the life, share the life, share the life.